Tournament of Champions preview show. I'm here with my good friend Jerry Brown, back for another season, Jerry. Now it's finally going to get good. We're finally into the Chicago Summer Series. We got some big events, big major level 16-inch softball coming up, and I'm pretty excited for this weekend.
I'm raring to go. I can't wait. I couldn't wait. It feels like Christmas for an old man like me, and I can't wait to Thursday get here. Thursday can't get here fast enough.
Yeah, hopefully the weather's going to be good, and everything should be good. Come on out, Mayfair Park, Westchester. They will have full concessions. They'll have adult beverages there, and weather is looking pretty good. First time all summer we'll have nice weather and hot softball.
That's what I'm talking about. We deserve it. I mean, we've had the Dome League, and thank God for that, but now it's time to get outdoors and smell some fresh air, hit the ball around, and let the best team win.
Absolutely. So before we get started, just want to give a shout out to Sweet Buzz. They're our anchor corporate sponsor for the SSA Chicago Summer Series. Of course, Nick Drabo with Moneyline. Hopefully we're going to be done with the show in time, and I'm going to do a little live stream, and you guys will get a chance to see the Moneyline Ball Club today. They're going to be playing Meatball City, and Sweet Buzz is part of the reason why we can do the things that we do. They have, if you're an adult, they sell infused products, and just check them out. Grab Nick over the weekend. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk about the company. So let's get into it. Got the bracket here. I'll expand it, and we'll just kind of pan down and let everybody get a chance to look at it. Sorry, folks, my finger's sliding on my phone. But I know it's tough to see, but we do have it on the website. So we're going to start at the top, and we're going to work our way down, and we'll go by this quarter by quarter, and you'll get a chance to see the individual quarters of the bracket. So I know me and Jerry both got thoughts on it, and we'll start with the upper quadrant of the bracket.
So, that means the top.
The top. So we got Menace versus 10 Deep. Winner feeds into traffic. And then on the bottom, we got our first opportunity at some head-to-head monsters potentially going at it. Chicago Dynasty playing Flashback. Winner gets BTA. It's an interesting bracket. Chicago Dynasty has been playing pretty well. They're losing a couple of close games. They've lost a lot of talent the last few years. They look like they're going to have a solid ball club. How good they're going to be, time will tell. Of course, we all know Flashback. Flashback last year won the Chicago Summer Series point system, and they also won 2 events, finished second in an event, finished third in an event. They might have finished second twice now they think about it. They did. So they were basically high level. So if they get past Flashback, they'll play BTA. And, of course, we streamed the game the other night out here, Jerry, where BTA laid it on Flashback. So that's a little bit of an interesting early season revenge game. I think Menace and 10 Deep, another weird game because they just played each other in the Cinco de Mayo Championship, and 10 Deep was rolling last weekend, and they laid it on Menace pretty good. So I think Menace will be highly motivated to come out and play a better ball game. But what are your takes on this quarter bracket, Jer?
Well, this quarter, first of all, I want to say congratulations to 10 Deep on winning the Cinco de Mayo just recently. They played outstanding softball, but the game I'm really curious to see how Menace responds to 10 Deep. And 10 Deep spanked them pretty good. So normally when that happens, you come back a little fired up. You come back with a little sense of urgency. And tournament softball is a little different from the others. So I'm really curious to see that. But in this upper quadrant, like you said before, I have 2 players to watch. I like the young man from 10 Deep, Latrell Giles. I think he's a player to watch. He's up and coming. And I know this is one of your favorites from BTA, Cordell Irving. I think he's up and coming. So these are 2 players I really want the softball world to recognize and be aware of. Now the Chicago Dynasty flashback game, I think Flash is going to really try to set the tone early, and that's going to be a Good Friday game. But the game we're looking for, if Flash can get past Dynasty, is BTA Flash.
Yeah, I would think Thursday night at 7, or Friday night at 7:30. If that matchup comes, Dynasty will have a lot to say about that, and they got a lot of pride over there, so they won't roll over. So I think if you're flashback, they got to take care of business at 6:30 on Friday. Now, the only thing I will say, if you're Traffic or BTA or any of these teams that got any of the 8 byes, and again, it was a blind draw tournament, but those are trap games because you're going to be playing a team that's already played 7 innings. They got swings in, they're lathered up, they're ready to go, they're excited. So the big question is going to be whether or not, if Flash does end up playing BTA, if BTA can come out of the gate and be ready to go right at game time. That is not a game I think that either team would want to start slow in. And, that would certainly be a big-time tilt. And one of those two teams, guaranteed, regardless of what happens in the Dynasty flashback game, but one of those teams is going in the loser's bracket for sure.
Yeah, they're going down below. We're not in Australia, so they're going down below, young man.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting bracket. I agree with you, Cordell, Latrell Giles, and also I think looking at the guys that were acquisitions this year, especially for flashback, PJ Raines seems like he's adapting real well over there. And look out for Traffic. They were in this little 3-team grouping. At the end of last year, Traffic was playing some really solid softball, and they were really playing well at the end of the year. So we'll see if there's any carryover. They got a young kid. His first name escapes me. His last name is Regal. He's a big kid, and he hits the ball awfully hard. So I'm going to be curious to see how he does in the tournament. So it should be interesting, of course, potentially a huge game there. Now we move to the upper-lower quadrant, and some good teams here and more potential big-time matchups. We got Goodwood playing the 45s.
Yep.
And then they feed into Whale. Whale yesterday lost a tough one to the 45s.
Was it 5-4?
Yeah, I believe so. They got walked off in the bottom of the 7th or 8th.
Yep.
And they were playing a pretty solid game. When you look at Whale, of course, they got Jackson Perry, Chris Rieger.
One of your favorites.
Yeah, it's Chris too. And so, it's a team when you look at them, Frank Simon. So they got some interesting players on that team. And Goodwood, I think, when all is said and done, they're going to be in the hunt, I think, at the A level. And they could do some big damage. They got one of my favorite pitchers in Hector Melendez on that team. And, of course, Steve Burke does a good job. So the 45s, they haven't really gotten it into high gear yet. But it'll be curious to see. They had a lot of their guys were out last night trying to get a few hacks in before the tournament. So always a dangerous team, a lot of experience on that team. So good little grouping. If you're the 45s, you don't want to sleep on Goodwood.
No.
And then in the bottom, you got Diesels and the Hacks. Winner feeds into Moneyline. And, Moneyline figures to be one of our better major teams. And you got Hex, who's been one of the more established, better major teams for a long time. And I think right now they might be.
They're playing the best softball from top to bottom. I'm speaking of Hex.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I think.
Have they lost a game in Forest Park yet?
I don't believe so. And I think the other thing is a lot of new faces on Hex coming over from that Sauce team. And those kids seem like they've acclimated very well. They played in the Dome. They got to know the other Hex guys. And I think what's happened there is they got a little injection of enthusiasm. The Sauce guys are showing up every night.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of pressure off. They're not looking over their shoulder. Where's our 10th guy anymore? And they just seem like they're very relaxed and they're having a good time right now. So, I know you got a prediction about Hex. And also the Diesel team, good young team. They play real hard. If you're Hex, you don't want to look ahead to money line. But the Diesels will come. They'll fight you. They'll play. I believe they finished third in the No Glove A last year. And I want to say the only 2 games they lost were to the Dirty 38s, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But a good young team. Pat Moran, of course, his father is the name of the Terry Moran tournament is named after his father. And Pat's been a great kid, kept that tournament alive through the years. So what are your thoughts on this bracket, Jer?
Okay, this bracket, my player to watch is Brian Sloan. I like what he's doing. But my question is, before I make my prediction, which is already I'm going to take Hex out this bracket, and I'm going to take Hex for the whole tournament. But before I say anything else, you mentioned earlier when you were speaking about how does a team get accustomed, like this has really been fast. Hex and the merger has really worked fast. I mean, what happened? What made it go so fast? Normally it takes up until June, July, maybe a year sometimes for everything to gel. How'd they gel so fast, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a couple of factors at play. I think, number one, they did play in the Dome. So they got that, hi, how you doing? My name's Brian. They got all of that stuff out of the way, and they had success. And I think also that a lot of that is, I know I talked to Al Rice in McKinley Park at a co-ed tournament, and he was saying about how everybody on Hex was really excited that these guys were coming in. So I think sometimes the environment that you create when you bring in new guys like that, getting those games where it was low stress, they were having a good time in the Dome, there was no pressure, allows everybody to kind of settle in. And then some of it is just, kudos to the various personalities fitting in. And I'm not saying this as a slight, but, what Sauce brought to Hex is what Hex needed.
Okay.
So those guys weren't coming in and, there weren't 5 Hex guys that were being relegated to the bench. So they came in, they had a need, they filled a need. So when you roll it all together, it's been pretty seamless. If you got a great shortstop and you bring in a great shortstop,
you got a problem.
That's a problem because they both want to play shortstop.
Right.
But there wasn't much of that going on here, and Sauce kids are pretty humble kids. I
like them.
Yeah, well, last year we had Mikey Oliver come in early.
Yeah, he was betting 5-something.
Yeah, and we tried to interview him, and the kid said about 3 words. I
had to talk for him.
Yeah, so and that's a testament. They're good kids. They want to play ball. They play hard. So and kudos to Richie and V over there, kind of run the team. They've done a good job welcoming those kids in. And as a result of that, when you look at that team, it looks like they've played together for a couple of years.
Yes, that's the vibe I get from them when I watch the Hex guys play. If you told me this is their 10th or 6th game together, I wouldn't believe you. I would say they've been together for a couple of seasons. But I have a question about one thing I like about Whale. I like their enthusiasm. They played 2 tough games yesterday. I think they lost to Pharaohs 5-4, and I think the 45s walked them off. I think 5-4.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And I
believe it was 4-4 going in, and they scored a run. So yeah, 5-4.
So I would if you told me to pick a sleeper, I might take a little Whale.
Well,
might give me a Whaler.
Well, they're capable, and you're right, and. You got Jackson Perry, who played in a lot of big games.
Yeah.
Chris Rieger played in a lot of big games. Frank Simons played in a lot of big games. It's not as though they've got guys that haven't played softball at the major level. So they're certainly a team that you better come and be ready to play against, I should say, because otherwise you're going to have yourself a little bit of a problem.
A major problem.
So let's move now to
Question before you move on.
Okay.
Sorry about this. This is the
go
last
back.
question.
No worries.
Because I got stuff in my mind. You know, I'm getting old, so I got to say it before I forget. You made a comment about Goodwood being a sort of an A-level team. Let's just say hypothetically, and it's possible, that Goodwood rolls through the whole tournament undefeated. Will they be considered major then, or where's the reclassification come in at?
Well, here's the thing.
Or do you put the point system in?
Well, we do have a point system, but that's really for August.
Okay.
For Carroll Stream. But prior to the No Glove A, we will sit down and we'll look at everybody's body of work, the roster, the eyeball test, where they're sitting. Now with the summer series, we update point standings, so we get an idea. So there's a lot of factors that go into play. And for example, 45s could show up, when they play, and maybe 5 of their guys aren't there.
Okay.
And maybe another big team maybe gets eliminated. It's another playing an A team. So, there was a team one year, our first year, and called the Bush Leaguers, and everybody thought, they finished 5th in the No Glove, and everybody said, oh, that's a major team. That's a major team. But when you looked at their No Glove route to finish in 5th, all of the teams that you would consider true major teams had lost.
They're playing A
so
teams.
They went to Carroll Stream, and everybody was complaining. They ended up finishing 5th in the A. So, you got to look at more than just a weekend. But a weekend, if you're a borderline team, that could push you over the edge into the next classification.
Okay. All right.
So
Thank
now, you're welcome. So now we move to the lower half of the bracket, and this is the upper quarter. We got Faros and Los Barachos.
It's a big good game.
Yeah, it should be. I think both of those teams, they're evenly matched. Meatball City gets the winner, and then you got March versus 40 Deuce, and the winner feeds into High Y. So it's an interesting bracket. March has a tendency to beat some good teams at times. 40 Deuce, much improved. Might still be a little bit of a heavy lift for 40 Deuce, I think, to get past March, but anything can happen. And we'll see what High Y does. They lost, they're losing some close games too, but a lot of talent, a lot of team speed. That March, if it does come to fruition, March and High Y could be a very good ball game. And I think Meatball City, they're a strange team. Sometimes they roll. A couple of weeks ago, they played 2 games and they must have scored 40 runs. But then we see them on days, Jerry, where they don't necessarily score a lot of runs. So we'll see what happens. They got a lot of thump in the middle of their lineup with the Wiz brothers and with Jose Godinez and. And they picked up one of my favorite guys, a kid I got to coach for a couple of years, Drew Chaveria.
Okay. Is he all Geo, or is that? Tell me the truth. People want to know.
Well, I think that the closest comparable to Drew, and he's not quite there, but I think if he can just stay healthy, he keeps having ankle issues, is Joe Krasny. And Drew's got that kind of ability. He can run, he can throw, and he hits the ball hard. He's a big kid. And so he is one of my favorites. So he adds even more thump to their lineup. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what shakes out here. Couple of teams could make it out of this bracket. I think when you look at March, High Y, Meatball City, if any of the 3 of them were to win this part of the bracket, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, excuse me. I'm looking at the bracket, and whenever I teeter this team, that team, teeter back and forth, I always go to who plays in Forest Park or who plays in Melrose. And that's what I pretty much go with. And I really curious to see how this Faro Los Barachos game look. and that's going to be speed on speed. So if you close your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to miss a play. So I would not close my eyes. I'll be very attentive and not go take a water break, a bathroom break, or anything like that, because that game's going to go at record speed. Meatball City, I haven't seen play this year, so I can't really comment on them. 40 Deuce, I've seen play. My player for the bracket for this little quadrant, I'm gonna say Brandon Marshall for High Y. He comes from the great Oboes team last year, and I'm going to pick.
I knew there was a hook in there somewhere.
What are you talking about? Look, this is my player. This is who I'm picking. My player to watch from this bracket is Brandon Marshall, and I'm curious to see. But I do believe, like you said before, I think of this bracket, like you said, if March came out of here, Pharaohs, Meatball City, High Y, whomever, I would not be surprised either.
Yeah, and there is going to be some good players playing in this bracket for sure. Los Barachos got a couple of real good-looking younger kids. Steve Rodriguez did a great job keeping them in the fold. A lot of people sniffing around that team last fall.
Alex Cotto.
And Jacob, Jacoby, I should say, Dom Jacoby, a terrific young talent. And if he's got all his guys out, you can't look past Barachos, because I think sometimes people do, but then they get into tournaments, and the next thing you know, they're playing on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
what happened, huh?
Well,
Don't sleep.
Steve does a good job there, so that'll be very interesting. And now we're going to go to the lower, the last part, and oh boy, it's going to heat up fast on Thursday. Signature Circus, two of the perennial big boys. They've both won this tournament, and Circus as recently as 2 years ago, and last year Circus lost a flashback in the championship game, so they seem to always play well at Westchester. Signature, when they're right, they might have the best offense in softball. Winner gets Impact. Right below that, Fat Kids and Iron, and that feeds into Future. So, of course, Signature Circus, again, another matchup, Jerry, where one of the big boys going in the loser's bracket on opening night. So that's going to be a tremendous game. Impact is still kind of young. They lost a lot of talent. A lot of their guys are over at that March team. They also lost a lot of their guys to the Signature team.
Right.
So if Signature wins, that's going to, maybe be a little bit of a grudge match when you lose guys to an opponent. Fat Kids Iron. Iron's kids should be back from college or pretty close. So they've been playing some good ball. They had a big win the other night, and that should be that's going to be a very good game that nobody in the park's going to be watching.
I'll be watching it.
They're going to be watching Signature and Circus, because if my glasses are right, they both play at the same time.
Who did this bracket?
I don't know, man. Some idiot. But the funny thing is, at Westchester, you can sit in between the two diamonds, and all you got to do is turn your head, and either field is 10 feet away from you.
That's true. That's the beauty of Westchester.
Yeah, it's a nice layout. And, of course, you got Future. They were looking to play a little bit more this year. They scored some runs in the Dome, so it'll be interesting to see them outside. And, that's an interesting bracket there with Future, Iron, and Fat Kids. I don't know if anybody in that bracket is head and shoulders above anybody else. And so it should be interesting. And what do you got there for that bracket, Chair?
Well, this bracket is going. I got to make this. I got to make a decision. I had to. I have a prom that I'm not going to make, a prom send off. So I'm going to get sick around that time. So if anybody sees me, you didn't see me at Westchester. I was in the hospital. So, but just so happened I got well about 8:29. So hopefully everything goes well. But just kidding. But this is the bracket, because I personally went to go see Iron yesterday. They played, I think, 30-38. And I don't know the young man's name, but he's a lefty, he's a center fielder for Iron, and I really like him a lot. And I don't know his name. He's my player to watch for this bracket, and I'm sorry.
My guess is it was Nate Kremkow.
I don't know his name. So
If Nate's back from school.
I know he's fast as grease lightning. He swings at the first pitch. He's left-handed. He runs like
unless
a deer.
Danny's son Tyler was playing center tomorrow.
Okay,
or yesterday.
I'm sorry. The next time we have a broadcast, I'll get your name. I just was. You played great ball yesterday. Both the left. The whole team played good. They I think they won 12-1. They played dirty 38s. But I was most impressed with the team speed. And also, your favorite player, Joe Welgos, played first base.
Yeah, and they got another guy I like on that team a lot, Jamie Quirk.
Okay, you mentioned him
No,
before.
is it Billy Quirk? I keep calling him Jamie Quirk, the former major leaguer. Sorry, Billy.
The pitcher.
No, he's right fielder. I mean, the kid hits. He just finds his way on base. So Iron is an up-and-coming team for sure.
There.
And they're gonna be a very good team for a lot of years to come. There's no doubt about it. Danny's done a great job. So before we head out, let's give another shout out to Sweet Buzz. Please find Nick Drabel. When you come out to the event, you'll see our banners hanging up at Westchester. Please support the people that support 16-inch softball. It's very important that we keep the game going, and they do put the effort in to keep us going and keeping the game going. So one other thing, if you want to inquire about starting a league or a tournament, or how you can become an SSA corporate partner, email us at info@ssasoftball.com. You can also give me a call, 708-807-7043, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about softball. So, New Chicago Summer Series kicking off. Everybody's excited. It's always good to see the upgrades, the new faces, and it's just like Major League Baseball. Hope springs eternal.
Well, one thing on a side note, Wesley Shannon, please get all your at-bats. You could have been, you were batting 700, but you were 2 at-bats off from winning the batting title.
So that's going to be our preview show. We'll do a wrap-up show. We'll show you the early Summer Series leaders after this weekend. We'll probably have a couple interviews, either on tape or live next week after the event. And then, of course, with Memorial Day coming up, everybody will get a chance to take a rest.
Oh, yeah.
But so hopefully you come on out. It's going to be a great weekend. Great facility in Westchester. They always do a good job with the food. And I'm excited, man. I can't say it enough. I'm so excited.
I'm happy it's here, and it's here now. And I just can't, like I said before, I said earlier in the broadcast, that I feel like a kid at Christmas.
There you go. So thanks, everybody. This is Gio.
This is Jerry.
Live from Bulger Park in Melrose Park. I'm going to hustle and try to get to the start of this Moneyline Meatball City game. And thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you.